In this episode, we explore the magic that is My Neighbor Totoro, and I show you an inspired watercolor painting I make for my daughter from start to completion, along with the Totoro Toddler sleep hack. Stay tuned. Hey, I'm Beth. I'm an artist and art teacher in Southern California. Recently, I became a mama to this little cutie, Ava, and our family is complete with my wonderful husband and papa, Martin. I will show the process of how my art is made on and off the canvas, where my muse is the life and love we share together in our little family. Welcome to Portrait of an Artist Mom. How do I even begin to explain the magic that is My Neighbor Totoro? I guess it all started for me when a student of mine had recommended this movie. So I rented My Neighbor Totoro, put it on, but then unexpectedly saw this happen to Ava. This is interesting. So what is this movie? Simply put, this movie is a classic. Not just in Japan, but everywhere. This movie was written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki and created by Studio Ghibli. It's a heartwarming tale about two sisters, Satsuki and Mei, whose family moves into a new house in the country to be closer to their mother, who is recovering in the hospital. Yet magic finds this family, and the spirits that reside in the estate continue to look after them during all of their difficult times. Roger Ebert included this movie in his greatest movies list and can be quoted saying, "Whenever I watch this movie, I smile, I smile, I smile." It's true though, this movie is unabashedly pleasant. It's a movie that blossoms from its simplicity. And if you're a parent to a young child, here's an amazing toddler sleep hack. About every 20 minutes, there's a scene where the characters go to sleep, which is fantastic because you can pause the movie and say, "Aw, I guess it's time for all of us to go to sleep." Then later you can pick the movie back up in the place you left off, knowing that in 20 minutes you can do the whole act over again. As an artist though, this movie is like candy. The illustrations are beyond sumptuous, resplendent, and nostalgic, which makes sense because the movie is based on Hayao Miyazaki's own childhood. So speaking of art, let's take a break and talk a little bit about what I'm doing in this watercolor right now. So watercolor is a transparent medium, meaning that you have to let each layer dry before adding a new layer on top of it. When you work with watercolor, you almost want to think about it as like layering stained glass windows, because stained glass windows are transparent, similar to watercolor paint. So after you let each layer dry and add a new one, those colors will react to the colors that you've laid down below. And you will also be able to see the markings that you've made below also. So keep that in mind. Now you can see that I'm adding gouache on top of my watercolor. What is gouache? It's almost like the in-between of watercolor and acrylic. Gouache is an opaque matte paint medium, yet similar to acrylic, if you add enough water to it, it can also be transparent. The reason why I'm adding it to this watercolor is that I want to cover the artwork I have already created with a figure that is not at all transparent, our Totoro. So I use a masking fluid pen first to help me create outlines of my Totoro and make sure that I can hold the shapes I need to make my gouache sketch of him as accurate and easy as possible. You may be wondering that if gouache is opaque, why didn't I just paint the whole Totoro with gouache instead of masking fluid to begin with? Simply put, we want our Totoro to look as though he belongs in this world. Similar to putting a filter on your photos, your environment will cast colors on your subjects. So, by incorporating the colors that exist in your environment as much as possible, you will be able to create a scene that looks more natural, which is something this movie encapsulates so succinctly. Once I feel happy with my overall piece, now it's time to add the final details in gouache. You do not want to add too many details though, so be sure to restrain yourself and only paint details that will add to the overall feel and dimension of the piece. They're the perfect accent around the outside, creating almost a very slight frame. Yet, if you add little details like these berries, make sure to paint them in little groupings instead of dots all over the place, because if you think about it, that's how it is in nature. I add my final details with a gel pen for highlights and an HB pencil for shading, cast shadows, and to define the space a little better. If you're looking for a film with overwhelming action-packed scenes or scary villains, then this is not the movie for you. If you're looking for a movie with realistic female protagonists and where the imagination and optimistic attitude and the ability to believe in magic is the hero of the film, then check this movie out. This is why I was inspired to create this watercolor sketch for Ava. It's a piece that marks a moment in our lives, a piece inspired by a movie that makes these girls smile even during difficult and uncertain times. I will look back on these days and I can't tell you exactly how I'll feel about them in retrospect. Yet I can tell you that this movie will be crystal clear in my mind as a place for us to find peace amongst the chaos. And I will forever be grateful for the student who made sure that this movie was in my life. If you would like to watch a tutorial on how to draw Totoro by Toshio Suzuki, former president of Studio Ghibli, I will post that link below. Learn to draw directly from the source. If you like these videos, please subscribe, like, and support us on our Patreon page, Portrait of an Artist Mom. Welcome to the family.